So Conker started out as a cute platformer.
He was a standard Nintendo character. Squeaked, jumped.
Mario 64 had just arrived on the scene, and that was a game changer, I suppose, in terms of the next generation of games.
Of course, as soon as everyone saw that, we were like, okay, guess we better do something like that.
There was an awful lot of content and there was lots of fun ideas, but it just really wasn't gelling as a finished game.
And what happened was, as Banjo came along and they completely torpedoed us. I think Conker, as it was sort of floundering as a concept because it was too similar.
Chris Seaver took over. He was working on art and then became designer on it.
I took the initiative and I came up with an idea that I thought might work.
I think he just wanted to give it a bit more of an edge, really, which is kind of his character as a person.
So we thought, well, let's just go for the comedy element, but let's make it more kind of edgy in terms of its violence. Let's get some narrative in there so we can get the personality of the character out.
For me, there was one key moment which turned it into the game that it was.
I think Tim came up with the idea for the beehive.
The beehive had been stolen from the bees by the nasty wasps.
What wasn't in there was the reason why. It was the narrative and the punchline.
You're being chased by wasps and you're coming down the path and you have to return the queen her hive.
What can we do with that? Oh, I know. We'll make it violent. we'll make it completely over the top.
Eat that, mother buzzer.
That was kind of the light bulb moment, I suppose, for that game. And we showed that to Tim and Chris, and they went, yes, love it, just make more of that.
Conker was evolved over its life, and one of the things that came out of when we were designing levels were the movie parodies. I think the first one was the Terminator, and in the bottom it was, each time you hit it, a bit would drop off. And in the cutscene, a bit dropped off his eye, and you can see behind that it was a robot. I thought, oh, we can get some Terminator cues in here.
Susie 9mm.
I'm right here, sweetie pie. You just tell me where to shoot.
And that's really where it came from. It was like, oh, actually, that worked really well, because it gave us cues for things like music. It gave us ideas for the design itself, for the gameplay. So we did the Catfish one, which was Godzilla. I mean, there were films around at the time, so it was very much like a kind of a zeitgeisty thing. The Saving Private Ryan one. Okay, well, we've got a beach and you've got to get up it.
We spent a lot of time really trying to get that feeling of, the movies that you know and love. I spent months animating squirrels on fire with their legs falling off and their arms falling off, and there's a part where the squirrel picks up an arm and he sticks it back on and he's like, ooh. And I dreamt about squirrels like burning for like a long time. It had a real effect, I mean.
I was kind of giving hints of some of those soundtracks, and The Matrix being another obvious one with the lobby scene. And that was quite a good interactive piece of music, actually, because when you could hit the bullet time at any point, so we had this kind of channel fade on the music that kind of slowed down and went into this dreamy slow thing, and then back into the kind of hard-hitting industrial beat.
If it hadn't have been The Matrix, if the movie parodies hadn't been there, the gameplay would have been completely different and probably not as good. So it really complemented the game.
Cutscenes were kind of the reward, the sort of payoff at the end of the joke, the equivalent of our, Mario style. We had no script whatsoever. You'd say, it's kind of this, it's kind of that, and we would just bounce ideas backwards and forwards. I'd be constantly record.
And I think that helped because it meant that it was a lot more fluid.
This worked because Chris was designing it, so he had a very good understanding of what the next task was, what you were going to do.
A lot of the creativity, certainly a lot of the funny stuff, just came out of the spontaneity of what we were doing.
We were so excited whenever a new scene came in. We knew we had something special because we'd still be giggling about it months later. Just the way a certain animation was or a way a certain word was said. You you're normally sick to death of a game by the time it's finished.
Chris was doing like all the voices in Conquer. He wanted me to do a couple of the other characters as well. So he goes to me, we want Barry to be like American, so can you do an American accent? And I was like, literally never been anywhere in my life. I'd just flown over from Dublin, and all I could think of was to add like every so often. It says, hi, you've reached like Barry's place. Awful. Even now when I hear it, I cringe.
Uh-oh.
Mighty Pooh, he came about, as most things did with Conquer, it's just something Chris thought about, what can we do next to kind of repulse people or whatever, or make them laugh. And he just said, I want a boss that's a big giant turd that sings an opera.
Probably one of the most memorable characters in Conquer.
I am the great mighty Pooh, and I'm going to throw my shit at you. A huge supply of tish comes from my chocolate starfish. How about some scat, you little twat?
It's really random. You're throwing toilet roll at a giant poo monster. So something beautiful had to come from that, and we're lucky it was Mr. Marlowe and his voice.
He does a fair bit of sort of amateur dramatics, and he's well into his singing.
I know originally there were supposed to be these little sweet corn, and me and Ashton were going to be like the Mighty Pooh's backing singers.
It's going to be hard to beat that. It'll probably be on my gravestone. Here lies Chris Marlowe, voice of the great mighty Pooh.
Now that's what I call a bowel movement.
So the original design was actually a lot bigger. It was a much bigger game. We built a map, and it kind of got added to. Things got merged into other things.
Chris had the clever idea of getting the start sorted and the end sorted, and then it doesn't matter what you chop out of the middle, because people just won't know it was going to be there.
When I started, there was this huge sprawling land. By the time I ended, like most of the edge worlds had been cut out, and we just had focused on these bits in the centre. I just remember looking at it one day and seeing lots of X's through a bunch of the worlds. We're like, we want to get this done in time. We're going to get rid of all this shit.
Mainly, the game is intact. Most of the stuff, surprisingly, is kept. I mean, if you look at the amount of mechanics that were in Conquer, there's a lot. You know. Normally the first hour of a game is the most fun because it's all fresh. But with Conquer, it's still fresh at the end, and I think that's possibly why when people play it, they're surprised. They go, ooh, I thought this was just about a swearing squirrel.
There was an unveiling, I think it was in Vegas at some English pub, where they showed it to the press for the first time, because this was kind of, I suppose they were all thinking it was going to be 12 Tales, cutesy, sort of Mario-esque type platformer.
They showed them the Great Mighty Pooh, which was the big thing where everyone just went, what is this? I don't know. Everyone was laughing and stuff, but I think there was probably as many people with their jaws on the floor going, this is Nintendo.
Nintendo were very lenient, really, with an awful lot of stuff.
And Nintendo really supported it, and they, to the point that at E3, even though they showed it behind closed doors, they built a proper bar where you had to show ID to go in, and you could grab a beer and play the game.
I mean, I played it fairly recently, and I'm shocked at some of the stuff. I probably would change some of the stuff now. The obvious one is the sunflower. That whole sequence is like, no, I couldn't do that again. If it was made now, and if it was the same team, it wouldn't. I don't think we'd do a game that people would want, because they'd want the original Conquer, but again, we're not the people to make that game, ironically, because we've changed. My tastes have changed and I've moved on. You'd have a hard time getting it made now. So the only way for anyone to play it is to play the original, because I don't think there's going to be anything like it again.
Oh no. It's gonna be one of those days. I don't feel so good.
What's that? What's that? Hey. Who are you?
Oh, hello. Help me. I'm home and go to bed because I don't feel very well at all.
Oh, no.
Oh, so you can't help me at all?
Actually, yes, I can. Maybe.
Okay. What's your name?
Beardy.
Beardy? You haven't got a beard.
No. I scare birdies.
Oh, Birdie. So how do you help me?
Right. Let's step over here. You see those buttons? Actually, you'll find that they're called context sensitive. And, well, actually, they press B.
Press B.
Oh, yeah. The light comes on. And it makes this nice ting. Right, a ting noise. You guys ting. No, ting. That's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll B.
I don't know if I do.
So, what does that mean?
It means sex sensitive. Sensitive to context. Try it over there.
Okay.
Or you can try it again.
I don't feel so good. Oh, just what I needed. In fact, it would seem to me that these give me just what I need at that moment in time. Oh, I see what he means. Context sensitive. Clever. Oh, I feel loads better. Right, let's get out of here. Oh, and by the way, if for whatever reason you want to skip all these wonderful cutscenes, then just press the L button. But you will have to have watched them at least once. Yeah. Now then again, are you... Somebody get me! Hey, what about me? Ah, who's this guy?
If you think you're coming this way, you can think again.
Oh, you're a real charmer. I just want to get past, please.
No, I don't think so. I've only just got comfy. Have you ever sat on a piece of Gothic architecture for 200 years? Gets right up your arse, you know. Thought it was about time to move on to a bridge, say. And I'm not moving now.
Isn't it a little bit early in the day to start talking about Gothic architecture?
Well, if you care to come a bit closer, we can discuss things of another nature.